Hi everyone, I'm Taylor and welcome to the Tribe Life's 30 Days of Yoga Challenge. Today is day 3 of the challenge. And for today's class, we're going to focus on balance. So I'm introducing tree pose and a few other poses that will help us with balance and alignment and that sort of thing. So when you're ready, you can roll out your mat and we'll begin. Okay, so for day 3, we're going to start in a nice comfortable seated position. Maybe roll pull the flesh away from your sits bones so you can sit nice and tall. And for your palms, you can place them down on your thighs, on your knees, or up, palms to the sky in more of a receiving gesture. I mentioned in day 1, I think of this as receiving creativity or clarity. So whatever gesture feels right for you. And then just sitting here with your heart over your hips. If you'd like to prop up the hips with a blanket, you can do that as well. And I just invite you to tune in to your breath and your body right now as we arrive on our mat. As you start to breathe, take note of your breath. So notice the feeling of the air passing along your nostrils and your lips. And then notice the quality of your breath. If you're taking shallow breaths or really inhaling, filling your lungs, taking deep breaths. And then tuning into your body. So just doing a body scan, noticing if any particular body part stands out to you, if there's any tension, if you're holding tension in one particular area. Just noticing that, paying attention to that. And then doing a mental scan. So checking in with your mind and noticing what thoughts are coming to mind, if there's anything in particular that's coming to the surface, and thinking about them as if they're clouds in the sky, and just as a new thought arrives, just allowing it to pass, no judgment, no holding on to it, and allowing it to pass, knowing that it will come back when you need it. An exercise of letting go and just continuing to breathe, noticing again, just what's popping up for us. And then finally set your intention for class. So if you were with me with day 1, I kind of called out the fact that this is a new year, a new challenge. And with a new year, new challenge, maybe there's something this year you're trying to work on, trying to get some clarity on, trying to make some changes. And maybe you've held that same intention from the beginning of the challenge and you'll carry it through all 30 days. And so that if that's it, maybe bringing that intention to the top of your mind, or if something new speaks to you today, just bringing that to mind and just sitting here with that intention for a breath. And then you can open your eyes. And we'll start with placing our right hand outside that right hip, lifting that left arm up to the sky. And then as we reach tall, we're rooting down through that left hip, and then exhale, leaning over to the right, feeling that stretch in the left side body, maybe opening the heart up to the sky a little bit. Breathing, creating space on that left side body. And then rising back up, switching sides. So bringing that left hand outside that left hip, right hand up to the sky. Inhale, lifting up, lengthening, rooting through that right hip. And then exhale, leaning over to the left, feeling that stretch on the right side body, maybe twisting the heart up to the sky. And then rising back up. You can grab your hands behind your back. Inhale, lifting the chest and the chin, opening the front body. And then releasing the hands, walking them out in front of you. Pausing to tent the fingers and working to really lengthen, grounding through your sits bones, reaching through the top of your head, lengthening the spine here. From day one, I also recommended if you have a block handy, you can always place your forehead there. So just a reminder of that modification. And as we breathe, again, creating space in our lower back and all the way up through our spine. We'll take one more breath here. And then releasing the arms and the head down to the ground, just gently rounding the back here for a moment, releasing the head and the neck. And then we'll come back up to a seated position. Again, noticing what leg was in front. For me, it was my left, so I'll bring the right up and over and just switch sides briefly. So grabbing your hands behind your back. Again, inhale, lifting the chest, the heart, the chin, opening up. And then letting go and releasing the hands out in front of you, tenting the fingers, and just pausing here as we work to lengthen, grounding, rooting back through our hips and our sits bones, lengthening all the way up through the top of our head, breathing, creating space in our spine. And when you're ready, releasing your arms and your head down to the mat, to the ground, relaxing that neck. And then coming back up. We'll come onto all fours, so rolling forward over your knees. Palms under shoulders, knees under hips. Working to create a firm base here. So first focusing on the hands, spreading out all 10 fingers and really pressing down into the ground, feeling that pressure, that grounding. And working to lengthen the spine here. So back through the tailbone, all the way up through the top of your head, just creating a long spine here. And then the tops of our feet, the toes are on the ground and starting to press into the ground, just kind of grounding, firming them down to the ground, and then start to lift your navel, engaging your abs, lifting the navel. And as we start lifting the navel, we press more weight into the top of our feet as we start to lift the knees up. Engaging the abs, holding it here, pressing into the ground with the palms, and then lowering back down to the ground. We'll do that one more time. So again, starting from the ground up with strong base in the palms and the top of the feet, long spine through the top of the head. And as we start to press into the ground with our hands and our feet, we start lifting up the knees, engaging the navel, the abs, lifting the navel. Taking one more breath. And then back to the ground. We'll flip our toes under and pressing back to downward facing dog. So first downward facing dog, really walking out the dog here, stretching out the calves, the legs, maybe rolling forward and back from plank to down dog as we loosen up the shoulders, the arms, the side body. Just warm it up here. Take one more breath and then step that right foot forward, rising up to high lunge. So that back foot, that back heel is lifted, the back knee is lifted, and feeling as if someone was lifting us up from the bottom of our rib cage, really lifting us up, opening up the heart. Pressing in that left heel will help with lifting that knee. And as we inhale, reaching our arms up, exhale, opening them up to cactus arms, nice and wide, broad across the collarbones, the chest. And then rising back up, opening up to warrior two. So front heel to back arch alignment. Your feet are in the same line, the same plane. Shoulders over hips, rolling your shoulders back and down, reaching from fingertip to fingertip. Dropping that back arm, reaching the right arm up and back, reverse warrior. Bringing that right elbow onto that right thigh, left arm up and over, creating a straight line from the tips of the outer edge of that left foot through your fingertips. We're lifting on that right side body, opening the heart. And back to warrior two, dropping that back arm again, reverse warrior. Back to warrior two and side angle. Back up to warrior two, and then we'll windmill our arms down to frame that front foot, lifting up the back heel. Toe heel that right foot out so it's a little bit wider than hips distance, more closer to the edge of the mat. And a few options. You can stay here with your palms planted and back knee lifted as we work to lengthen through the spine, through the top of the head. You'll feel this in both hip, like a big hip opener here. You can also drop that back knee and have the same effect. Just maybe you come up on your fingertips and just rolling the shoulder blades back, reaching forward with the chest. Taking a few breaths here, really opening the hips. And then planting the hands, stepping back to plank, so flipping that back toe under, the right foot back, taking your time, lowering all the way down to the ground. Flipping the toes under, so the tops of the feet are on the ground, palms under the shoulders, hugging your elbows in, lifting forward with the top of your head. And as you lift to raise the chest, you're pressing down in the ground with the palms and pulling your palms back, so down and back, lifting the chest wide across the collarbones. And then releasing to the ground, pressing back to child's pose and back to downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here. Stepping forward with that left foot. On the next inhale, rising up into high lunge. So again, that back heel is lifted, the back knee is lifted, hips square to the front, lifting, reaching, feeling as if the bottom of your rib cage is being lifted up. We're lifting up from here and with a slight back bend, lifting up through our arms, our fingers. Inhale, reaching up, and then exhale, opening the arms to cactus arms. So bending the elbows, opening the chest. And then rising back up, opening to warrior two. So front heel to back arch alignment, shoulders over hips, reaching from fingertip to fingertip. Dropping that back arm, lifting the left up and back, reverse warrior. Left arm to left thigh, right arm up and over, side angle. Rising back up to warrior two and reverse warrior again. And back to side angle. Rising back up to warrior two, windmill the arms back down, framing that front foot, lifting the heel up, toe heel that left foot out to the left. Keeping the palms planted firmly. Again, you can stay with your back knee lifted and really looking to reach forward with the chest wide across the collarbones. Feeling this as we lengthen the spine, really opening the hips here. And you can drop that back knee down as well. That will also work. Breathing into the space, into the hips. And then planting the palm, slipping the back toe under, stepping back to plank. Again, taking a flow, so you can lower all the way to the ground again, or you can just press back, lifting the hips up and back. So yogi's choice, flow or just back to downward facing dog. And we'll walk it out here for a little bit. Looking forward, you can slowly walk your feet up in between your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Separating your toes so they're about hips distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. And then taking the pointer fingers and the second fingers inside the first and second toes, grabbing onto the big toes as we inhale, lift and lengthen the spine. And exhale, bending the arms out to the side, forward fold. And for a deeper stretch here, flex and, not flex, but lift your kneecaps. You'll notice that might help with folding a little bit deeper. Releasing the big toes, we can step onto our hands here. So place the palms under the feet and the big toes to the wrist creases. And again, just work to inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, forward fold as you work to straighten your legs, bending your arms out to the side and bringing your chest to your thighs. Taking one more breath, then releasing the hands. We will ragdoll, bending the knees slightly and just coming all the way up to stand. No rush, taking your time. Finding your way back up to stand. And roll the shoulders up and back. We'll come to tree. So starting with grounding through the right foot. I always like to start from the bottom up, right? Grounding first as we rise and lift. So starting with that right foot, look to lift up the toes, separate them, and then lower them back down. So really grounding through that right foot, through all four corners of that foot. And then that standing leg is strong and lifted, right? The kneecap's not locked, but that leg is straight. And then you can take that left foot and place it either on your calf or shin, or avoiding the knee, you can lift it up to your inner thigh. And placing that foot, you're pressing that foot against the inner thigh and the thighs back against that foot as you kind of create this opposing force balance sweet spot, right? And then we're lifting up through the top of the head, feeling as if someone were pulling up from an invisible string at the top of our head, and then bringing our hands to our heart, standing nice and tall and picking a point out in the distance that's not moving. And we'll take a few breaths here as we balance. And then releasing that leg and foot and arms and just relax, shake it out. And then we'll switch sides. So grounding through that left foot, through all four corners of the foot, maybe lifting the toes up, separating them, and then releasing them back down, really rooting through all four corners. And that left leg is straight and lifted, engaged. The kneecap is lifted. You can take that right foot, placing it on either your calf, your shin, or avoiding the knee up above on that inner thigh, really pressing against the thigh and the thigh back up against the foot. And then for your hands, bringing them into your heart. And again, feeling as if someone was pulling up from an invisible string at the top of your head, standing nice and tall. And bringing your hands to your heart. And again, picking something that's not moving out in the distance, focusing on that as we take a few breaths. And then releasing your hands and your feet, shaking it out. So we'll inhale, coming up to the front of our mat, and inhale, reaching our arms up to the sky. Exhale them into your heart. And looking down at your feet, toe heel your feet out so it's a little wider than hips distance, closer to mat's distance, as we squat down into a squat here. So placing our elbows inside our thighs and pressing the elbows against the thighs against the elbows as we sink our weight back into our heels, lifting the chest. Taking a breath. And when you're ready, just rolling back, coming onto our butts. So once you're on the ground, we'll come into a bridge pose. So planting your feet, straightening your legs in front of you, just flexing the feet. We'll bring our arms out as we sit tall, and then just slowly rolling down to the ground, one vertebrae at a time with our chest, and just taking your time. You can flex your feet, engage the abs, and slowly coming down. And then we will hug the knees into the chest, rocking briefly side to side, and then planting the feet on the ground, knees to the sky. You can bring your arms out next to you, palms down, and we'll come into bridge. So with bridge, you'll want to press into the ground with your heels as you start to rotate the pelvis up, and then lifting it up one vertebrae at a time. And as you're lifting, you can maybe slide your shoulders under, grabbing onto your palms, your wrists, wiggle it under as you continue to press through the heels, keeping the knees in line with the hips and lifting the hips up, trying to release your glutes and your lower back muscles, and the weight should really be on the shoulders and the heels of the feet. So pressing up, lifting up, and then slowly lowering back down. You can release your arms and your shoulders. Hugging your knees into your chest, rocking side to side. We'll do that one more time. So planting the feet, knees to the sky. Again, your arms by your side, palms down. Inhale, lifting up with the hips. Reaching out, maybe wiggle the wrists and the shoulders under again. Pressing down through the heels, lifting the hips, relaxing the glutes and the lower back muscles. And then releasing, lowering back down. Again, hugging the knees into the chest, rocking from side to side. And then bringing the arms out to the side. You can lift the hips up, bringing them to the right, knees to the left. And then dropping the head to the right and taking a few breaths in spine twist. And then coming back to center, again lifting the hips, tilting them to the left, knees to the right, and shifting the gaze over to that right, over to the left, over that left shoulder. Coming back to center, again hugging the knees into the chest, maybe rocking them clockwise and counterclockwise. And then when you're ready, you can straighten your legs out, dropping the feet away from one another, arms out by your sides and palms to the sky, and coming into final Shavasana. So I'll mention this probably in every video, but if you'd like to pause the video now and take as long as a Shavasana as you'd like, you can do that. Otherwise, stick with me, and for the next minute or so, we'll lie here and breathe, and then I'll bring us up to finish class together. So take a deep inhale through your nose. Exhale out your mouth. And just continue to breathe for the next minute or so, allowing yourself to melt into your mat. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Reaching your arms up over your head and stretching from your fingertips to the tips of your toes. Taking your time, rolling onto your right side body. And just pausing here for a breath or two. And then taking your time and slowly coming up to a nice, comfortable seated position. You can keep your eyes closed. Taking a deep inhale through your nose. Exhale out your mouth. Inhale, reaching your arms up overhead, and then bringing them into your heart center. I always close practice with a moment of gratitude, thinking of one thing you're grateful for and holding it in your heart. Allowing a big smile to come across your face. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste. Congratulations, you just finished day 3 of the 30-day challenge. If you stuck with me all 3 days, congratulations, 27 more days to go. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new video or a new class. And if you have a friend or a family member that you think would love this and enjoy this, share the love, send it on. They can pick up with us tomorrow for day 4 or start from day 1 on their own time. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow.